Hello and welcome to the Department of Small and Local Business Development's Lunch and Learn series. For June 2021, we have a fantastic series called Green Beans, that is green business engagement and networking support. And we are so excited today to have two experts from DC's Department on Energy and Environment who are here to talk about greening your business. We're going to dive right in and I'll hand things right over to Vinicio Linares.
Thank you, Kate. Good afternoon, everyone. Greening your business. This topic should take months and months to cover, but we're going to try to do it in 30 minutes. The topics we're going to be covering today have to do with a brief description of what is your green business, why would you consider going green, and ways to go green. And then we're going to finish with DOE describing a little bit how we're working with businesses. So what is a green business? A green business is about doing business. The concept of green business is composed basically of the two elements, green and business. And as all businesses, green business is about making money. But in this case, green means doing so while sustainably harnessing opportunities that nature holds. In other words, making money and trying to protect the environment and society. If you want to know more about this, you can refer to the previous Lunch and Learn that we had last week. It goes more into detail with what green businesses and social entrepreneurship is. So why would you consider going green? In many cases, it's a marketing aspect. It's access to customers. There's a lot of customers that require you that demand eco-friendly products or for any other financial or health reasons. You could save money by reducing your cost. As utilities go down and resources become scarce, it's of benefit for everyone so that you can start taking into account those costs. There's a lot of support and technical assistance for different businesses going into the sustainability or going green. Government agencies, NGOs, nonprofits are usually supporting all these businesses. You also create a better conditions for your staff. So this increases your productivity and makes your businesses more attractive for customers, for your staff and for customers. And at the end, you end up creating healthier environment where we live. The environment is usually, resources are limited and we need to come up with better ways of managing them and preserving them. So ways to go green. You either green your product or service or you green your process. You can come up with a green product or a green service that you're providing, but that doesn't mean you can forget about how you greening your process. Because you can be selling or providing a service that is green, but at the same time you're polluting or you're creating other conditions that are not favorable for the environment or society in general. I've taken the liberty to come up with this graphic where you can see almost what a business is. If you look at the internal part here, the square and the pig, you have management, you have finance, you have your operations, and how your sustainability aspects to consider. So you go to your suppliers, you buy from them whatever you need, you make some magic happen in your business, and then you go to your customers and consumers or markets. And this is basically what your business is. But you also have external risks that you need to consider, like pests or any other environmental disasters. And you also have enablers, people like government agencies or technical capacity builders that help you in one way or the other to create a better business. So when you talk about greening your process, it's referring to all of this, to all the different aspects that you come into your business and that go out. So when thinking about greening your process, these are the aspects that you need to consider, like what part of my business am I making green? So how do you green your process? You can do it in two ways. With a green sustainable certification process, scheme. A sustainable certification is usually a set of standards that will indicate the product or service you're offering is green, sustainable, socially responsible, has minimal impact on the environment, and is economically beneficial for everyone. A certification scheme is usually independent third party. It's created by your own industry. It's defined by standards and guidelines. It's verifiable by a third party. It's a voluntary, and it's a market-driven. Sorry for the ambulances. It's part of the folklore of the city. And it's also market-driven. In many cases, you have also environmental and government-driven approaches where it's for the benefit of these NGOs of conservation or the government agencies to create ways of certifying that you are being a good business. So how does the green sustainable certification takes place? The process is very simple and very complicated at the same time. You get, depending on the industry, depending on your business, you hire a certifier that will do an assessment on your business. They will create a set of recommendations that you need to follow in order to get certified. And after that initial assessment, you start working on your business. So you have to pay the assessor, you have to pay the application to get started in the process of getting certified. So you implement those changes, which are, depending on your business, could be expensive and time consuming. So after you implement all those changes, you get certified. And sometimes you get pre-certified or conditionally certified, depending on the changes that you have to implement in your business. And you implement more changes. And usually this takes a year or two until you get really recertified, which is like the confirmation that you are actually doing things right. This could take a year or two. It's very costly. And every phase of the process requires hiring someone else to help you do it. Sorry, I see some questions there. I will get to them shortly. The B Corporation certification process represents something similar, where you get involved in the process of getting basically from handheld from the beginning to the end on how you're going to meet the different requirements to be certified. B Corporation certification is usually given to those good businesses that are legally required to create benefits for all their stakeholders, including local communities and the environment. Not only shareholders, but also the community members and the environment. So the next part, or the next way you could do it, is where you start a voluntary program. It's actually based on the same principles of certification, but it's more like an internal management system that you establish in your business. You set up a process and practices that will enable your organization to reduce any negative impact or increase your operations efficiency. And usually it starts by the way you assess your current situation. There's different agencies that have come up with different ways or standards of assessing your current situation, where you create this baseline and you plan and implement the different greening measures that you can keep up on working at your own pace, depending on the money you have, depending on the time you have, and how slow or fast you want to go on creating this implementing all these green measures. And you need to be monitoring regularly. So it's basically plan, do, check, and act. And this is a constant process where you go at your own pace. One of the assessment checklists that usually takes place that is recommended by the ILO Green Business Booklet takes into account that you should look recycling and waste reduction, energy and water conservation, pollution prevention, green procurement, green distribution, and decent work. And this is like one of the basic standards. I'm also providing you here with other links and information that you can access, the SBA one, the EPA one, which are a bit more complex and detailed, and it would all depend on what you're interested in doing and what you're interested in looking at. Are there any questions? I saw a question related to concrete examples. My colleague Marilyn is going to give you a concrete, very specific example of how DOE is working on setting up your green or your environmental management system to start greening your process. So these are other standards and guidelines that you can like look into it and start thinking or deciding which one is more ideal for your type of business, the size of your business, and how the resources you have to start implementing this. So
I
next,
have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. So as far as bidding on projects or anything like that, wouldn't it behoove to, in the procurement process, that they make that a requirement that you have certain certifications in order to go for government contracts? Because
Yeah.
what purpose would it be to have that certification if they're, you know, not making it mandatory?
Yeah, this kind of certification is not for procurement purposes for government. This kind of certification we're talking here is about greening your operations and processes. The certification you're probably referring to is the CBE, the Certified Business Enterprise, which certifies you for being a local businesses to be able to access procurement opportunities at DC government. There are more than 200 eco labels in the US only. There's like 400 around the world that in one way or the other help you get certified for whatever aspect of your business or whatever industry you're working in. One of the previous slides I was showing had a couple of them, and believe me, they are whatever you need to be certified in, you can access some sort of industry, some sort of standard to be able to be certified. Okay. Next, my friend Marilyn, my colleague Marilyn. Oh, 12 minutes.
Thank you, Vinicio. You're my colleague and friend too. So to the one person who's calling in who may not be seeing the slides, Kate asked me to just let everyone know that the slides will be shared, will be sent to you. So welcome and thank you for coming and joining us during your lunch. My name again is Mary Lynn Wilhere. I'm in the Urban Sustainability Administration. I apologize, I don't have my camera on because my internet is being pretty slow today. And I want to talk about what DOEE can do for you. Now, I know those of you who have been in DC for a long time may know that historically DOEE was really mostly focused on inspections and enforcement. And as the agency has grown and developed, we have many more staff that are now involved in technical assistance, compliance assistance, basically helping people understand the law, which I think is just a fabulous thing. And I'm so happy DOE is now really grabbing onto this idea. So DOEE offers rebates, subsidies, and grants to save money, reduce costs and pollution. So again, your tax dollars, which support the agency, are then turned around into different programs to fund certain environmental projects and choices. So for one example is utility surcharges pay for the DC Sustainable Energy Utility, which for anyone on this line, I absolutely strongly recommend that you go to the DCSU page and look where you can get rebates and paybacks. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Again, we have over 350 staff members. You can get free expert advice. You're basically going to the source. Also, feel free to anytime call the agency and talk to someone. We would much rather you call us and get help than have to deal with a problem later. So technical assistance, that's just a government term, meaning basically we're here to help you, to teach you, to train you, to offer guidance. We can help you understand the law, follow it, avoid fines, and stay ahead of your competition. And when I say stay ahead of the competition, I'm really just saying that you might get a heads up on there's a new reg going to be coming in place in 6 months, and you might want to get on the email list to be notified of that. So we have webinars and workshops, which of course have been virtual, like today. We have our DOE website, which I will be the first person to admit that is hard to navigate. So give us a call and we'll help you find the resource you need. And then we provide regular trainings for contractors, business owners, managers, and staff. And they range from anything from pesticide applicators, people who install stormwater projects, people who just want to be trained in their industry. Like the picture we have here is a couple individuals working on a car. So we have our auto repair shop webinars and workshops. And then we have a building engineer below that. And we also have workshops for them on a number of issues. We also provide opportunities to just share your input with our senior staff and at times even the director with our public comment periods, our stakeholder meetings, our focus groups, which we run from time to time, depending on funding, and our sustainable DC planning process. Next slide. Can I do next? Oh, thank you. All right, I just want to talk briefly, what is the difference between environmental regulation and going green? Because you probably have heard both terms. So regulations are specific, written, and may have associated fines for non-compliance, or you basically didn't do, or you did something you weren't supposed to do. So we basically call these the musts. And then the expression going above and beyond compliance, voluntary, going green activities, sustainability, sustainable operations. These are things you're not required to do by law, but we encourage them through the incentives and rebates and grants and assistance and credits and the recognition awards, such as the District Sustainability Awards, which right now we have over 90 businesses, organizations, and individuals that have won the District Sustainability Award, and they can promote their business through this recognition award. And the last little bit I have at the bottom there is your business's environmental impact. 10% activities and choices may be covered by environmental regulations. The other 90% is up to you. So these are the things that you decide to do that are not required by law, that do have a very direct environmental impact. Whether it's just going outside and making sure the litter is cleaned away from the storm drain every morning. Again, there's not going to be an inspector coming out asking you to do that unless it's clogged. But that, again, has a very direct environmental impact, something you can control. Or where you buy your supplies. Are you getting something from China where you know it's not made in a very environmental way? When you get rid of your electronics, are you throwing them in the trash, which you're not supposed to do by law? Or are you selling them overseas where they may not be used in an appropriate manner? So here we have a picture of Vicki North teaching hazardous waste handling at a workshop. Now, hazardous waste is covered specifically by regulations. So one example is if your business has fluorescent light tubes up in your ceiling, you have to have an EPA ID number to get rid of those tubes. Most people don't know that. Next slide. So how do we start? This is really important. Define your why. If you're just interested in saving money, that's great. We don't need to go beyond that. If you just want to say, can I get some rebates for some LED light bulbs? That's fine. You can really decide how far you want to go in this. Or voluntary activities. Again, this is for voluntary, above and beyond compliance. Are you interested in marketing your business as green? We have a lot of businesses in DC that are taking this route right now and are doing very well with it, with all the millennials in the city. So how do you start? Collect information. Do you own or lease your space? That's going to make a really big difference on what you can and can't do. How long do you plan to remain in your space? Does it make sense to you for you to put solar panels if you're only going to be there for 6 more months? And we really ask you, walk around your business and study what you see. It sounds so obvious, but you really do need to look around and see what's going on. What kind of lights are in your ceiling? What's in your trash and recycle bins? Do you even have recycle bins? If you see things in your trash and you think, wow, we could have actually bought something that we could have recycled, or we really shouldn't be using it at that rate, there's lots of little fine tunes that we can make or recommend there that will save you money. Where is the closest storm drain? Like, that's often a question we ask people if they have a business like an auto shop where things are, oils, liquids are going on the ground and then running into a storm drain and then the Anacostia River, which is often the case. We recommend you gather your energy, water, and waste bills to see where your money's going. You have seasonal changes, daily changes. Just try to understand what's going on with those particular items. And then identify your green team. It's really critical that the owner, the president, the manager, someone who is empowered to make decisions and changes be part of your green team. If you don't have senior staff support, you'll really, really struggle. You can come up with all the best ideas in the world, but if you don't have the authority to implement them, it will fall flat. Choose a checklist. And I tell folks, if someone hands you a checklist and your very first gut reaction is, OMG, that's probably not the right checklist for you. Back it up, go smaller, get a simple, shorter list where no one's going to suffer green fatigue or feel overwhelmed. You don't want staff to dread this. You want them to be proud of it. So choose a checklist. DOE can help you with that. And we're going to base that on your industry, the number of employees, how much time you have, how much revenue you have, and fine tune that checklist so that you don't just get exhausted from it. Again, you want to make this effective, but you also want your staff not to dread it. So establish a baseline, and we can talk more about that when you contact us. What does that mean? And start to track what you see and what's happening. This will definitely help for efficiency in your business in general, and any business person will know it's good to track what you're doing. And then eventually, when you get a little bit more comfortable, we'll say, well, what's something you could add to the list? What type of continual improvement, which again, that's a EMS expression, continual improvement, that you can add. And that's a picture of Busboys and Poets, and they won one of the district sustainability awards. Next slide. So the checklist. Contact us for a recommendation on checklists. They are industry specific. Again, I said based on size and time and resources, your industry. Contact your trade association to find out if there's an official program or checklist adopted by your industry. For example, the one that Kate just put in the chat is from the National Restaurant Association. They have a whole sustainability program. Your particular trade association may have decided to endorse a third-party certification program like Green Seal. So for example, all the Kimpton hotels in DC were certified by Green Seal because corporate headquarters decided to pick that program. But there are other nonprofits out there that provide third-party certification. Again, you're probably paying something. I'm sure you're paying something to be certified, and you have to decide if that's something you want to do, because that is a big expense and takes a lot of time. So again, just to back it up, pick a checklist. We can help you with that. It can be as simple as the top 10 things I can do, and it may include, like, look at your energy use, water use, your stormwater. Do your staff understand what stormwater is and why does it matter? Where is your the flow of things off your business? Where is it going? Is it going? It either goes to Potomac or Anacostia, so it's going somewhere. Purchasing, supplies, just your general office supplies, and then who is your energy supplier? Would you consider purchasing renewable energy? Look at your waste stream. Is your waste hauler actually disposing of things appropriately? Can you work a better deal with working with some other businesses? And the big thing is recycling. Recycling is required in the DC, and I see very little compliance on it. Shipping, transportation, and training. And training is key. Again, if you have a lot of turnover, you do need to retrain those staff. So again, DOE can help you walk through a checklist for the first time And again, we're just a phone call or email away to say, hey, I'm stuck or I don't understand something. Next one. So I'm just going to give 2 examples of programs, but there are many, many. I would say there's roughly 20 programs that DOEE offers for businesses. The first one I would definitely ask everyone to take a look at is the DC Sustainable Energy Utility. That's the one where your utility surcharges pay into that fund. And basically then you get, as a business, get to take advantage of those. So there's rebates on lighting, HVAC, which is heating, cooling systems, refrigeration, motors, food service and vending, instant LED, that's lighting, rebates, expert advice. They will actually come to your business and help you. And benchmarking is a type of energy measurement. For businesses that are over 25,000 square feet, you guys are the next in line for benchmarking requirements. I'll save that for another day. District buying power is if you're a small business, a number of small businesses can buy power together and get a much lower rate. So the city has set up a program where you can say, I want to be one of the members to join. And basically this energy aggregation then goes out and buys energy. We can provide you more information on that. Next one. So tools, resources, and green incentives. There is loads of information on the internet. If you just go to the internet and type small business going green or small business sustainability steps, you will come up with many, many, many resources. I would definitely recommend looking at EPA's Smart Steps to Sustainability 2.0. That's an excellent document. Absolutely check with your trade association because they will have specific guidance for what you do. And do reach out to DOEE because we can point you to the incentives that will help your business. I've worked with businesses for over 35 years. So yes, that tells you I'm an old person, but I hope I bring the experience to help you figure it all out. And then at the very bottom, we're just starting this through DSLBD. Thank you. Schedule a session with a DOEE Sustainable Business Specialist through DSLBD's InnoEd scheduling link. And I have not started that yet, but I'm very excited to start that. Next. So here are the contacts. The DCO we just heard from earlier, and then myself. I've put up our email addresses and the main number for DOEE. I will also give you my personal phone number because I answer my phone all the time. And I will put that in the chat, 202-535-1939. I actually had to think about that. It tells you how long we've been out of the office. So, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Marilyn, this is. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. I have another question. Are there going to be any standards as far as buildings being erected or in currently built environment, as far as maybe standards that go beyond LEED that you're going to implement?
Well, we have a whole branch that is our green building and climate change. I can't speak to what they are planning to go beyond LEED. In terms of requirements, that's just not my area of expertise, but we can certainly hook you up with the right person. I'd probably turn you over to Casey Studfelter, who is our green building specialist, and he could tell you if there's anything going beyond LEED. LEED is, for those who are not familiar, is a set of standards from the U.S. Green Building Council, standing for, let's see if I can remember this, leadership. Okay, who knows what LEED is? Leadership and energy. Hold on a minute. That's so embarrassing. I don't remember what this is.
Energy and environmental design.
Thank you. Yes. So they are a set of standards that USGBC puts out. It's a very complex and detailed written specific program. You can go to USGBC to find out more information about them. Pull up their website. There we go.
We also had a question in the how do you know which certifications to
I can hear a little bit of talking, but I can't hear.
I'll say that again. We had a question in the chat. How do businesses know which certifications to pursue?
That's a great question. I mean, there are some certifications that have been around longer and are just more respected than others. There's always new pop-ups. I would certainly look to your trade association to see if there's certain ones that they are endorsing. You can also ask DOEE if you come up with one that we've just never heard of, and we look at what kind of information is out there about them. You know, look at GuideStar and look at other resources. We would just have to look into them, but we can definitely point you to certain certifications that are well respected, like B Corp and Green Seal and you know, others.
Yeah, it also depends on the cost, your willingness to pay, and the time you have to get certified, because every standard is different, every objective they have is different, and it would all depend on what your goals are too.
Wonderful. And Marilyn, I think you spoke about this in your remarks, but just to go back to an earlier question that we had, if you could reiterate a little bit an example, a concrete example of greening process, one or two.
Sure. Sure. So ones that come to mind are, well, there's so many. How about like restaurants? So restaurants that have greened their operations through a variety of means, such as buying local food, composting the waste that comes off of their off the dinner plates, sending their oyster shells to the Oyster Recovery Partnership so that they can seed the new oysters in the Chesapeake Bay, changing over to compostable and recyclable foodware, installing a green roof, installing a rain garden, changing a fleet over to CNG, or putting in place programs for their staff to transit to get back and forth from work. It's a very long list. Again, it covers everything from like energy and water and packaging and how you get food and who are your suppliers. It can get pretty deep into the weeds pretty quick. And again, I just caution people, if you get handed a checklist and it's like, whoa, we can pull it back. Say, look, let's shoot for the top 5. Let's shoot for the top 10. This is not like you do it and you're done. Every year you would go back and say, our recycling program, it's not working. What do we need to do? Or our customers would really like us to green our space outside the building. What should we do? Maybe we should put in a rain garden. Maybe we should put a native habitat. Maybe we should just go out and sweep up the litter on the front of the business. If you're an office, there are very specific things, again, if you're leasing and you don't have control of your property, and we have different checklists for if you're in an office space.
Something else to clarify is that a business never ever gets to be 100% sustainable or 100% green. It's always a constant process, a process evolving of every year fixing one little aspect of your business that could either help you reduce cost or help you pollute less or create less greenhouse gas emissions. It's an ongoing process. So think about being green as a never-ending process to make your business better.
Wonderful. I know that we are over time, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I want to say a really big thank you to Vinicio and Mary Lynn. All of their information is in the chat. We will be sharing out this recording as well as these slide deck materials and all of the information about how to contact folks. And so this is a good overview for thinking about how you can work with the Department of the Energy and Environment to help support you as you continue to green your business. Thank you, everyone.